Today, we'll be covering Lesson 12-1, Slope-Intercept Form. We'll be covering this in 4 separate sections. We're going to cover questions 1 to 3, question 4, question 5 through 9, and then we'll round this out with questions 14 to 16. Let's go ahead and take a look at section 1. It starts off by stating, when a diver descends in a lake or ocean, pressure is produced by the weight of the water on the diver. As a diver swims deeper into the water, the pressure of the diver's body increases at a rate of about 1 atmospheric of pressure per 10 meters of depth. The table and graph below represent the total pressure Y on a diver given that the depth X underwater in meters. And so we have this table that says now remember this is under the water in meters. So this is my depth. And we're going to say that this is in meters. So this is how far below they are the water. Okay. Y is the total pressure. Okay. So at 0 meters under the water, my total pressure is 1. At 1 meter below the water, my total pressure is 1.1. At 2 meters below the water, we're at 1.2. We got 3 meters was 1.3 total pressure, and so on, all the way up. They went up to 6, but as you can tell by the picture, the graph, it continues on because notice we have this arrow. It says, write an equation describing the relationship between the pressure exerted on the diver and the diver's depth underwater. Well, we know that we start at a pressure of 1, right? And it shows us that as we go down in depth, our pressure increases by 0.1 for every meter. So we need to somehow figure out how we're going to write this particular equation. If we take a look at this, what do you notice about as X gets bigger, what happens to Y? I agree. As X gets bigger by 1, Y increases by 0.1. And we start off at an initial value of 1. So we're going to write this as Y equals, we start at 1, and as X increases by 1, Y increases by 0.1. So we're going to write this as plus 0.1 times whatever my X is. It says, what is the slope of the line and what are the units of the slope? Well, my slope, let's take a look. As we go up 1 atmospheric pressure, my graph goes over 10 units on the meters. So my M is at 0.1 because remember we increase by 0.1 each time. So M, or my slope, is 0.1. The units on my slope is atmosphere And my over is per meters. So whenever I write this, I'm going to write atmospheres, and that is per, so my y's over my x's per meter. It asks, looking at the graph, what is the y-intercept and explain its meaning in this context? Well, my y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So that would be right there. That's my y-intercept. Okay, so my y-intercept is 0, 1. And what does that mean? Well, remember that 0 represents my depth underwater, and my y, my 1, represents the amount of pressure. So we could say the amount of pressure on the diver at the surface of the water. Basically when x equals 0. Okay. Over here, there was a math term off to the side. It says a linear equation is an equation that can be written in standard form, ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are constants, and a and b cannot both be 0. So again, we have, where did this point 1 come from? It came from what is my y increasing by each time? And the 1 right here came from the starting value. When x is 0, y was 1. On to the next set of questions.